get rolling.
All right. So, Frenchy, I'm going to
Uh-huh.
start with an introduction. So,
Uh-huh.
you are a DJ at in2beats.
Uh-huh.
You joined in2beats in 2011
That's
and
right.
you host the daily breakfast show Frenchy's House Monday to Friday, 8 till 12.
Yeah.
Okay. Entertaining has always been a passion as you as have also appeared on a number of TV shows and dramas, including EastEnders, Law and Order, and The Bill.
That's right. Yeah.
You also have your own DJing company, DJ Brown in Services, and you're a host at events such as Lagos Lounge and run your own comedy night. And the list could go on and on and on with everything that you do.
Yeah, well, the DJ company is actually me and my friends. Frenchy and Brown is entertainment. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Okay, brilliant.
yeah.
So you're a busy man. So I appreciate you taking the time today to be a guest on I Can Relate. So I really thoroughly appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I just wanted to begin by asking a simple question. What is it? What is it? Seeing as you entertain so much, what is it that you love about entertaining?
Um, it does something for me. It's you know what? If you ever watch footballers or sportsmen, yeah, when they're talking about like when you watch certain documentaries, they talk about the rush that they got from like if a footballer might score a goal and you've got 50,000 people cheering, right? Me, it's not that. I just love putting smiles on faces, right? And entertaining is something that puts smiles on faces.
And you definitely do that because
Mm.
I tune into beats and you make me smile. So I know that you do it to a lot of people. It's a natural talent of yours. But how do
Yeah.
you maintain that? How do you, because in order to make other people smile, you have to have a
Mm.
certain amount of energy. So is it consistent? Do you always have that same energy, or do you have highs?
Um,
Do you have lows?
well, like everybody else in life, I get lows as well, right? I
Okay.
get low. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you, right? There's something that kind of resonated with me ages ago. I was going through something. Yeah, I was going through potentially splitting up with my ex-wife, which we are now
Okay.
split up, and we'd been together for 24 years, and I was really struggling with it. But everybody that saw me, every time they'd see me, they would say like I look on top of the world. But it made me question myself, like, is this an act? Because it's not an act. It wasn't an act, but it was like what people see and what I was going through were two separate things totally. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. And it made me feel like, hmm, I tell you what it is, what I read, it said sometimes people that are going through stuff are the ones that smile the biggest because they're hiding
Yeah.
what they're going through. And it made me kind of check myself, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And the
Right.
loudest person in the room is usually the one that's
Yeah.
hurting the most.
Yeah, it's usually the one that's hurting the most. I mean, I was hurting, but generally, I would say I've had a good life. I come from a good family. I come from a family of entertainers as well, right?
Yeah.
I remember when I was growing up, my grandma, like, she was never a TV person. She's told stories, but the stories were like, it was like watching a movie when she told these stories, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
right? And my uncles, they were proper into music. This is how I grew up, and I grew up in an environment that was very happy, right? So it's something that I feel like I like to bring back as well. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
and share what I grew up with other people. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, it
Right?
does.
Yeah, because we all struggle. We
Yeah.
all struggle, but what it is, I feel like if you allow that to sink in, whatever you're going through, if you really allow it to sink in and take a grip on you, right? It really can, but it's hard to always be angry if you're smiling. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's hard to
it
always
does.
be angry. If you listen, if you laugh every day, that's actually a remedy to helping you go through whatever you're going through. Right? It's
Yeah.
important to laugh every day, and I try to laugh every day, not because it's being forced, but I get around people that will make me laugh, whether I want to laugh or not. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So your
and
social
sometimes
circles are important.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But when you said that you've masked it, what's the reason for that? So why did you mask it? Do you feel like there was pressures that you had to maintain a certain
Well, it's I'll be honest with you, right? Um, coming from my background, right? It's I'll get straight to the point. My dad told me men don't cry,
Okay.
right? I'm changing. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff with people who suffer with mental health, and now I tell men it's okay to cry, right?
Yeah.
But my dad, the way he was, it's like I didn't really grow up with my dad as much, but and it's crazy that the one thing that he told me is one thing that always stuck. So he always told me to man up and suck it up. And I
Okay.
guess and sometimes don't get me wrong, this is not about race, right? But if you spoke, obviously I'm a black guy, right?
Yeah.
I grew up in a black family, and if you speak to a lot of black people from a certain age group, they will let you know that they grew up from families where the parents were very hard. Yeah, showing emotions and things of that nature is not something that I came from. I'm learning to do that now, yeah, and I feel much better for it. But it's not something that I knew how to deal with, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes
it's not
sense.
something that and like I say, it's not just a race thing, but as a black guy talking, it's not something when you've got a lot of issues, it's not something that I found my social circle, me or my social circle, or a lot of black people in general that I knew would go around saying, "Oh, I'm going through X, Y, Z. I need help."
Yeah.
It was seen like a weakness, so to
Yeah.
speak. It's good that times are changing now and people are getting more educated, but it was seen like a weakness.
Would you ask for help now?
Yeah, of course I would. I'm
Okay.
very vocal now. I'm very vocal, and I think some of the things that I speak about um they touch so many other people because I
Yeah.
get a lot of the time I get people message me on Facebook or whatever that would never write stuff or let it be known, but they'll
Yeah.
message me and say, listen, I read XYZ or you said this and that. And I thought, let me ring you to talk about this, that, and the other. Right.
Yeah.
So now I've got no shame in asking for help.
And
No shame at all.
do you feel like it's a release?
Yeah, of course it is. Of
That's
course it is.
brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, of course, it's a massive release. I tell you, one thing that, as I was saying to you, when my dad said to me, men don't cry or whatever, things of that nature, yeah, I feel like I had so much things that had built up. Like I'd been to funerals of friends, family, whatnot. As you know, I've been stabbed 11 times myself, right?
Wow.
I didn't cry for any of this kind of stuff. Like I didn't cry for any of it. I didn't. It's like I just sucked
Yeah.
it up, right? But it was affecting me deep down, right? It was affecting me deep down. And I still recall I always say this, it will kill me for saying it, but I always say this. One of my best friends, Adrian, right? Similar to me, we was very from outside looking, you'd never think we've got emotion, right? So, but I went to his dad's funeral and all of a sudden I saw him crying. I'd never seen him cry, and him crying made me cry, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I felt ashamed of crying, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
I went outside, but I went outside, I cried for like a good 40 minutes. But I felt like I was hiding. Yeah, I was hiding. I
Yeah.
didn't want nobody to see me crying. But it's like, I kid you not, as the day went on, it felt like the biggest burden had been lifted off my shoulder, if you know what I
Okay.
mean. Because
Yeah.
seeing him cry, when my dad died, I didn't cry for my dad, my grandma, all of that. But when I saw him cry, it like triggered off all the things that I'd been carrying that I'd not like shed a tear for. And I kid you not, like literally it felt like I'd shedded I just lifted a whole big thing off my back. Yeah.
And it's amazing because you use your platform to do that. And
Mm,
so many people, like I've written down that celebrities are speaking up about their mental health. Megan Thee
mm,
Stallion wrote about a
mm,
song about living with anxiety and
mm,
started an online resource for mental health. And Selena
mm,
Gomez also released a documentary about her journey to a bipolar diagnosis.
mm.
So you're a public figure. Why do you think it's important to use your platform and for others to use their platform to advocate for mental health?
Because it's important. We're all going through stuff. Every single
Yeah.
one of us, right? It's like, funnily enough, I was watching this documentary about this boxer, Oscar De La Hoya, right? Brilliant, brilliant. I actually want to get my son to watch it, yeah. Um, He was called the Golden Boy. He's called the Golden Boy. Check it out when you get a chance.
Okay.
He became very rich, stinking rich, right? And a lot of people would generally think like rich people ain't got no problems. They
Yeah.
don't go, you know what I mean? Like what could they, like, they've got all the money in the world, which he did. But he was like, I don't want to spoil it for you, but he was damaged. Yeah.
Yeah.
It all came from his childhood, right? His mum used to beat him. He never got told I love you and all these kind of different things, right?
Yeah.
And because he never dealt with it, he carried that on. Even when he made money and became rich, all these materialistic things, it didn't change what he was really going through inside, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now watching it, it showed me a lot. But it's crazy because I was never really a TV person before. I didn't really watch a lot of TV. But lately, when I watch things, it's like I'm watching certain things for a reason because I'm seeing messages on in everything that I watch, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas there's certain storylines maybe I couldn't relate to, now I could relate to every single one of
Yeah.
them. And I just realized that we're all going through stuff. And without
Yeah.
talking about what we go through, right? It how can I put it? Without talking about the things that we go through, um, you might think you're alone going through that. But
Yeah.
when you've got a lot of these celebrities or people that have got certain platforms, I've got a little small platform myself. I feel like when you've been given these platforms, use them in a positive way because you could affect lives. Even if it's just one life, you're doing something right, you
Yes.
know. But
Yeah.
it's very important to talk about everything. I mean, I know I babble on a lot, right? But listen to me for one sec, right? I watched a thing. I watched this documentary about mixed race people, right? You're of mixed heritage yourself, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying this about you, but it's just stuff I never knew about. I'm talking about mixed race people from years ago, and I didn't know that they had a struggle of sometimes not fitting in
Identity
certain areas,
crisis.
white or they're too black, and it's just stuff I didn't know. So watching this, it's just opened up my eyes, and I thought, wow, in all these years, I didn't know that people of mixed heritage go through things like this,
Yeah.
if you know what I mean. And it was very eye opening. But as I'm watching it, a lot of them were they had mental issues about some of the things that they've gone through growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, right. So that was just one set of people. But then you see another set of people here that go through this. My problems are different, but they're going through what they're going through. I go through what I go through. You go through what you go through. But it's all mental issues that, unless we talk about them, nothing changes.
No, exactly. And going back to what you said as well about the boxer, I know
Mm,
I was watching a interview with Piers Morgan, or I think he
mm,
tweeted or something. I just
mm.
remember subliminally hearing it that he said that Adele has no, you can't feel sorry for Adele for having depression when she went through her divorce because she's rich. And
Yeah,
I
that's
thought that
still
was a very ignorant statement because, like you said, just because you're rich, it doesn't mean that you're happy and you go
no.
through mental health issues. Look at all the suicides there are, look at all the deaths
Mm,
there've been
mm.
with rich people. So, riches doesn't buy happiness or give you a clear run on mental health.
Well, I think being rich as well, like if you're rich and you suffer with a lot of mental health, I think that could be it's it could be a very lonely place because you could have 1,000 people around you because they love you and you're rich and you're providing X, Y, Z,
Yeah.
but you still feel alone because
Yeah.
they you know, and I've heard a lot of people say that I've got so many people around me, but I still feel alone, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and which is very sad, which is very, very sad. So I don't think where you are in life, yeah, because I tell you what, I've been to Africa, right? Because I'm of African background, right? And
Okay.
I've seen what the Western world might call less off people. And some of these people are the most happiest people you've ever
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking people that they will share. They might not have much, some of them, but they will share their last Rolo with you, right?
Yeah.
They will share absolutely everything, and the smiles are genuine,
Yeah.
right? Everything is genuine. You see true happiness, right? and then you start to question yourself, what's it all about? Yeah,
Yeah,
because you know, like it's sometimes people they get mental issues or depression or whatnot because they feel like they haven't achieved what society says you should
I
achieve,
know.
right? So it's all about understanding life and understanding yourself,
Yeah,
where you are, right?
yeah.
And that's how you could begin to help yourself. Start being around like-minded people, people that could help um that could help change your outlook in life. Does that make sense?
It's interesting you've said that because I can relate to that because
Mm,
it's like I'm a lady in my 30s, mid 30s. I haven't got children. Do you know what I mean?
mm,
Like I'm not married. And then so stereotypically in society, it's like by this age, maybe you should have that. But it's like, but I
mm-hmm,
don't. And at first it was kind of a battle for me. But now
mm-hmm,
I'm like, actually, I need to embrace that. I need to embrace that I am individual, that I've got my
mm-hmm.
individuality and stuff like that. But you can easily get morphed into society's values and what it is
100%,
for
not even easily,
society.
100%. But all of us do. All of us do. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's just about. It's kind of like, to be honest with you, like the family that I come from, right? Um, I grew up mostly with my mom's side of the family.
Yeah.
She's got 11 brothers and sisters, and they're all professionals. I'm talking lawyer. We've got architect, dentist, this and that, right? So like what my mom really wished for me was that I'd be like a doctor or a lawyer, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's never ever been in me. As far as I could remember, I enjoyed entertaining, if you know what
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
Right. I enjoyed, but it's like over the years, because I'm 45, I'm 45 this year in a couple of months, right? So obviously I'm getting old, yeah. But over the years, it kind of depressed me or got me a little bit down because I felt like I was letting my mum down. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It felt like, and like, I mean, we could be here for years if I start getting into certain stories. But my mum's
Yeah.
done a lot, and even the fact that I'm here talking to you, in fact, the fact that I was born with everything that she was going through, it's a miracle in itself. So it's like I've got a lot of respect for that lady, I love putting smile on people's faces, but I love putting smiles on my mum's face. Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it felt like I wasn't putting a smile on her face because I wasn't living up to what she expected me to be.
Okay.
Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah. That
But
does.
I've had like bit by bit, gradually, she's kind of seen what I meant, if you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
where, where she's met people say, "Oh, your son has done X, Y, Z," but something it might even be something where I haven't cashed off it or I haven't made money off it, but it's
Yeah.
something that's made a great difference to somebody's life, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Right. I mean, what one particular story, I was a football coach, right?
Yeah.
And there was a young kid who was going through a lot and whatnot. And at the end of that football year, his parents, they came up to me, gave me a bottle of champagne. They said, "Wow, you've done such a great job with this young man," and blah blah. But my mum got to hear this, yeah,
Yeah.
and it touched her. It touched her. So she started to see, right, this is what you love doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you love to make a change. It's not just about entertaining. I like to make a change, positive change, especially in young people's lives, because they
Yeah.
are the future, right?
Yeah.
I like to show them the right thing. I like to, but I use entertainment to do that,
Yeah,
if
but
you know
it's
what I mean.
because it's such a natural gift of yours. Like it just comes
Yeah.
so naturally. You're just so effervescent. Do you know what I mean? Like when you walk into a room, you've got that energy that it's
Thank you.
contagious.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But you see what? It, you have to embrace, and this is one thing I will say, right? It's only now I embrace that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it even 5, 10 years ago, right? I won't mention no names, but there's people very close to me that used to say things that made me feel a type of way, right? In
Okay.
terms of they would say I'm a show off, or
Okay.
I love attention, or I want every but that's far from it, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So
Yeah.
so basically, like what you hear and whatnot, that's naturally actually the person I am, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of the time I felt like I had to, what's the word? I had to bring myself right down. I had to suppress the person I am to
Yeah.
make everybody else feel comfortable. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That does.
Yeah.
That
But if
does.
you do that, if you actually do that, if you suppress who you are and you don't live your true life, 100% you will get into depression and mental issues because you're not living your true self, right?
Yeah.
Why should you have to bring yourself down to make everybody else feel comfortable? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're natural, I'm a naturally bubbly character. So if I walk in a room, I'm saying hello to everybody, and I might be a bit loud with it, but I'm loud with a yeah, how you doing? How you doing? So
Yeah.
you're all right. You're looking
Yeah.
well. You know, I'm like, so I'll see you. How you looking well, so blah
Yeah.
blah. That's just so that's how I'm like,
Yeah.
right? I do that with everybody, but I guess that made other people feel uncomfortable. Why do you always have to do this? Why do you always have to like be extra or or try and make an effort to impress people? I'm not making an effort to impress people. That's just who I
It's
am.
just who
Yeah,
you are.
yeah.
Yeah. And
And
that comes
I
across.
embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
embrace it. And you're
mm,
saying that it's a good thing to recognize your social circle because you
yeah,
suppressed it because of the people, some of the people you're around. So
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
you need to place yourself in circles that
yeah.
embrace it and pull out your magic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But a lot
Yeah.
of people they try to dim your light. That's the thing I read. It says yeah, yeah, there will be people that will try to dim your light. Yeah, there will be
Yeah.
people that will try to dim your light. And I'm being real when I say this. Yeah, even family members could do that. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
even and sometimes they don't mean it in a malicious way, right? But for example, I even read somewhere where they said parents are the biggest destroyers of people of their own children's dreams. Okay, and all that means is that it's like you might have a kid who dreams of being an astronaut or who dreams of being something really great, but his parents will say, "What's the chances of that happening?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and as the years go on, subconsciously that will get into the back of your head, like why should I even try that? Like you need people around you that believe in you 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need people around you that make you feel like you could fly, if
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And,
Yeah.
and that's not to boost your ego. It's not an ego thing. But when you've got people around you that believe in you and people that make you feel, because sometimes we all doubt ourselves,
Yeah.
right? We always doubt our own selves, right? But if you doubt yourself and you've got people around you that also doubt you, nothing will happen. So you got to
No.
be around people that will make you believe that you can be the best version of yourself. But people that don't make you feel like give up on your dream. That's you're dreaming too big. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Anything you want to do, you should be able to do and get support. But unfortunately, it's not always the way. It's not always the case. Yeah, because there's a lot of people, especially family members, they will tell you what's the chances of that happening? What's the
Yeah.
chances of that happening? Your best friends, like, what's the chance? Why didn't you just go and get a job? And there's so many people working 9 to 5s now who are very talented and they're not really
Yeah.
reaching their full potential. And for me, that's one of the saddest things I see on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Mm,
But so moving on to DJing specifically.
hmm
So just wanted to ask you a few questions about DJing. So apparently back in the day there was little support for DJs for their mental health.
hmm
Because a lot of DJs, there's a lot of demand like in the Guardian, according to over 100 academic studies, people working in entertainment and DJing are twice as likely to experience depression as a general population.
mm.
This is because of like antisocial working hours, time away from home, things like that. So, do you notice a difference in the support available now for DJs?
I wouldn't say so. I really, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not really a DJ. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm a host. I'm mostly a host. Yeah.
okay,
What I really do is host events. Um, DJing is something I just grew that on radio because I play music, so did you
yeah.
call me a DJ? But I don't
Oh,
really
okay,
DJ as much. But I think there's, to be honest, nowadays, 2023, I think there's support for everybody. It's just knowing about it. Yeah,
yeah,
even me now, like there's things I'm learning about that have been around for years that I just didn't know about. Yeah,
yeah,
and I guess some of these things that are more, it's crazy because some of the things that we need as a society. I mean, you could get advertisement, and everybody knows about McDonald's, right? Yeah,
yeah,
everybody, because
yeah,
it's always shown, it's always in our face and whatnot. But the things that we do need, yeah, they're all available, but they're not always shown. So there's certain times where if people are going through stuff, they don't even know which way to go,
yeah,
right? if right now you feel like you need a quick munch, you might think McDonald's because you know about it. It's just there because you
Subliminal,
always see it.
yeah.
Subliminal, right? But when you think, oh, I'm going through stuff, there's people they don't even know literally which number to call or which way to turn.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that should be an
Exactly.
automatic thing now of
It should
like,
be
right,
automatic. You're
yeah,
so right. You're so
mm,
right because it's not
mm,
advertised enough. So
yeah.
it should be not even advertised, but it's just not it well, yeah, it should be advertised. It should be
Well, it should
everywhere.
be,
It should be,
it should be
yeah,
everywhere. You
you're
know, like
so
even an
right.
advert, just regular TV adverts. There should be an advert that comes on every so often. Bang, bang. You suffer it. Just keep showing it up until people know, like, right, if I'm going through this, this is what I call. This is what. But
Yeah.
it's just not like that. It's just not like that.
And
You
just
know.
saying that, whilst you're on that point, if you are in a mental health crisis at the present, then the number to call, a number to call is NHS 111. So
Hmm.
just for all the listeners and viewers, just to let them know that it's NHS 111.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But
That's good.
but yeah, so thank you, Frenchy, for taking the time to spend. I know you're really busy, so I appreciate it.
Sorry,
And
I didn't go to radio today, man. I had a splitting headache. I look a mess, but you know, we had
no,
to do it for you, Zoe. We had to do it for you.
you've
You
done
know.
great. You've done really great. So thank you. I appreciate it. And just on
Yeah.
any closing words for anyone that's going through something with their mental health, do you have any closing words?
My thing is, it's good to talk, right? It's good to talk, and you're never alone, right?
Yeah,
You are never alone, and never ever ever have shame in your game, right?
yeah,
Especially for the men. See, ladies, you're different, yeah.
yeah,
It- and ladies, where I rate you, ladies, yeah, is that you could go through something and cry a bucket load of tears about it, and keep it moving,
yeah,
right? And maybe you could get over. Not to say that always works. Yeah,
yeah,
not to say, and I'm not saying everybody just start crying, but it works for you. But a lot of men find it hard to cry and all this. Just don't have no shame in showing emotion, or don't have no shame in admitting you need help, because
yeah.
everybody needs help. Everybody
Everybody
needs
needs
help in
help.
one way or another. All right, and don't bottle it all in. Don't bottle everything inside and carry it on your shoulders, because that's really, really what gets to you, right? And I'll
Yeah,
tell you something real quick, right? Because I do work with a number of different organizations here and there.
yeah,
Um, there's a lot of men in jail, right? Before I even get into that, do you know, Zoe, that the suicide rate amongst men is much higher than women,
yeah,
much higher than women.
yeah,
So that's a problem. That's a problem right there.
yeah,
Why is it much higher? Maybe it's because women are talking, they talk more, or they get help more, whereas men bottle it all in,
yeah,
right? So men, stop bottling it all in, right? But the second thing I was going to say, there's a lot of men right now in jail because they've done something at the spur of the moment. They've snapped over something that, and it wasn't, they haven't snapped about that particular situation. They've snapped about everything else that's been going on that they have not dealt with
yeah,
before. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Right? They're not dealt with, and as a result, you end up in jail or somewhere else. Yeah. So, well, I'm only saying that to say this: try and deal with some of these issues head on. Right?
yeah.
Because they don't go nowhere. Just
No,
remember that if you don't deal with it, it's never going to go anywhere.
yeah,
Yeah. Sooner or later, it's going to come out. Yeah,
yeah,
it's going to come out, and you don't want it to come out at the wrong time where you're angry or whatever. Yeah.
yeah,
So just it's good to talk. You're not the only one. Yeah, there's always someone going through what you're going through, and get around positive people that will
yeah,
lift your energy. Yeah,
yeah.
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Amazing.
try
Well,
and laugh once a day as well.
yes, exactly. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, French. And I was really kind of anticipating this podcast episode because you're such a great interviewer. So I was like, am I going to be able? So I
no
feel
man,
like,
listen,
uh,
you've done a great job. I think you're doing a great job, and
oh,
all I'm saying, keep doing what you're doing.
thank you, Frenchy, and keep making people smile and keep delivering the excellence that you do because it's just amazing. So,
Yeah.
right, one love. Mwah. See
Well,
you.
take
Take
care.
care.
So
Bye
say hi
bye.
to the sister as well. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cheers.
Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye.